Beyond the Veil. Chapter 1, The Fading Barrier. October 15, 1975. The fog clung thick to the trees of Hollow's End, seeping into the hollows of the forest like the breath of an unseen mouth. On summer nights, the town was no stranger to mist. But this night was different. There were no cicadas. No raccoons. Not even the lazy creak of crickets. Only silence. And at the edge of an old farmhouse, the faint scraping of iron against earth. The house itself stood crooked and rotting. Blackened timbers sagged. Windows stared back with dust-smeared glass. Its porch tilted. Its door barely clung to its hinges. The locals whispered it was cursed. A place where animals vanished. A place children dared each other to creep toward. But tonight, the farmhouse had guests. 2 days later, Evelyn sat in the farmhouse kitchen, cataloguing sketches of the reliquary. Dust swirled in weak shafts of sunlight that slipped past the grime-streaked windows. The air smelled of mold, and something metallic, like rust or blood. A knock startled her. At the sagging door stood an elderly farmer, tall but bent with age, his straw hat clutched tightly in veined hands. He said gravely, "Best leave what you found in the ground. That house don't take kindly to being disturbed." Evelyn's tone stiffened. "We are conducting a legitimate excavation under university authority. If you have concerns." The farmer cut her off. "I've lived here 60 years. I know what's buried. Bones that ought to stay buried. You'll bring the hollow veil down upon us." The words lingered like smoke. Hollow veil. Before Evelyn could ask more, the farmer turned and shuffled into the fog. A chill prickled her spine. When she stepped back into the farmhouse, she swore a shadow crossed the far wall, though no one was there. That evening, by lantern light, Evelyn traced the runes on the reliquary. They matched no known script, though fragments resembled Near Eastern burial texts. More disturbing were the bones themselves, etched with fine ritualistic lines carved into femurs and ribs. Across from her, Lucas sat pale and trembling. His hand rubbed absently at the arm that had touched the rune. "It's like the cold got into me," he muttered. "I can't get warm." "You're overworked," Evelyn said, though her voice quivered. Sleep had become impossible. Whenever she closed her eyes, whispers pressed into her ears in a language she didn't know. And once, staring into the farmhouse dresser mirror, she had seen her reflection smile, though her own lips had not moved. She had smashed the glass. The shards still littered the floor. By week's end, Hollow's End no longer felt the same. Livestock vanished. Dogs cowered and barked, refusing to approach the farmhouse. The townsfolk muttered of shared nightmares, visions of a dark forest where faintly glowing faces reached out from the trees. Evelyn tried to dismiss the stories. Yet one night, she woke in her cot to the sensation of a hand brushing her cheek. She shot upright, alone. Only the reliquary glowed faintly in the moonlight streaming through a cracked shutter. It dawned on her then, they had not merely uncovered bones. They had opened something. Evelyn's nephew, Thomas, came to visit with her sister. Curious and bright, the 8-year-old carried his notebook everywhere. When forbidden to enter the farmhouse, he of course disobeyed. Evelyn found him standing before the reliquary, eyes wide. "Auntie," he whispered, "the man in the corner says it belongs to him." Evelyn froze. "What man?" Thomas pointed. The corner stood empty. His lips trembled. He had no eyes. A week later, Evelyn noticed a stranger at the edge of the dig. He wore a long coat and wide-brimmed hat, his face hidden in shadow. He did not move, only watched. When she approached, he slipped a folded paper onto a stone and vanished into the fog. The note bore a rune, the same symbol etched into the reliquary bones. Beneath it, written in careful hand, the order of the Hollow Veil Watches. "You are not prepared." Evelyn fed the paper to the farmhouse stove. Still, the smell lingered, acrid, like burnt hair. Lucas collapsed days later, his skin slashed with shallow cuts forming runes he could not have carved himself. Whispering incoherently, He begged for silence that would not come. The town doctor examined him, but the wounds closed too quickly, leaving faint pale scars. That night Evelyn dreamed of the cellar. The reliquary floated, glowing brighter than ever. A veil rippled in the air, thin as smoke. Shapes pressed close on the other side, human but distorted, their mouths open in silent hunger. When she awoke, dirt crusted beneath her fingernails, as though she had been digging in her sleep. The university demanded the relics be transported. Evelyn insisted the reliquary be sealed in a lead-lined crate. As she hammered it shut, the house shuddered around her, timbers groaning as though alive. "Stay buried," she whispered, though she did not know if she spoke to the bones, the house, or herself. When the truck carried the crate away, the farmhouse seemed to settle into silence. Yet that night, as Evelyn prepared to leave Hollow's End, she looked back. In the upstairs window, a faint rune glowed. From the woods, a whisper followed her, "It is not sealed. Only delayed." Weeks later, the reliquary arrived at the University Museum, tagged and catalogued. Visitors passed the sealed crate, unaware of the faint cold pulse that radiated from within. In Hollow's End, the farmhouse stood silent. But deep in its cellar, the air shimmered faintly, as if the veil itself still thinned, waiting. The fading barrier had ended, for now. But the tear remained. The Order of the Hollow Veil watched still. And the curse clung to the bloodline of Evelyn Grant. Watch out for Chapter 2 of Beyond the Veil, Lingering Spectres.